Well, hey, YouTube, it's Elvis Ammo here. Hey, today we're going to do a little continuation of our Trail Boss powder load up. And today's video is going to be entitled Trail Boss Low versus High Volume Accuracy Testing. So what I've decided to do is in our last video of Trail Boss Nat Farts, this is a continuation of that video, and in that video we loaded up the Arsenal, the bullets from the Arsenal mold, the 158 grain Keith bullet, and we also loaded up the 110 grain Keith style bullet from the Lee mold, and we have those same bullets that we're using today, except for we're using we're going to kind of sort of test for accuracy here, and the way that I'm doing that is I'm going to be shooting 5 different groups, 3 groups with the 110 grain bullet, and 2 different groups with the 158 grain bullet. And the reason for that is because there is a lot of volume in the case between a 110 grain bullet with the 110 grain bullet versus the 158 grain bullet. So like I suggested in the last video, we will load 3 grains, 4 grains, and 5 grains with the 110 grain bullet, and then we will load 3.4 grains and 4.4 grains, because each of these max loads that I'm loading represents a full case of powder. So that's how we're going to do the test today. So I'm going to be shooting from a rest, as you see here, and I'm going to be shooting at 12 yards. And hopefully I can see well enough. I hate doing these tests because we have to determine whether it's me or the bullet not shooting so well. So with that in mind, I'm going to give you a nice close-up of the target. We've already, in the last video, I showed you the recoil, because that's somewhat of what that video was about shooting low recoil rounds. Alright, for not necessarily just for cowboy action shooting. So that's what we're going to see today as well. I've also already determined the feet per second of each one of these rounds, and I wrote it on the target, so you'll be able to see the feet per second on the target, and the bullet that I'm shooting with the amount of powder that I'm putting in it. All that information will be on the target. But just going in, I'll tell you, for the 110 grain bullet, 3, 4, and 5 grains, we're shooting 609 feet per second, 858 feet per second, and 956 feet per second. And then with the 158 grain bullet, we are shooting 703 feet per second and 856 feet per second. And you'll see that on the target. So I'm going to give you a close-up of the target, and we're going to shoot. Alright, now it is nearly freezing outside, and there will be no redos. And then we'll go, when we get done, we'll take a look at these at this target and talk it over for a minute. too bad. So that was 3 grains at 699 feet per second. And now we're going to go for 4 grains at 858 feet per second. Alright, that wasn't too bad either. Now we're going to go for 5 grains at 956 feet per second, and we're still shooting the 110 grain bullets. This one is the hottest one. Full load. So those were definitely noticeably hotter. And that's the end of our 110 grain bullet. Looks like a decent group down there. My eyes keep watering. You guys would feel sorry for me if you seen all the smoke coming out of my mouth. So now we have 2 more groups to shoot. And I can't make out what I wrote down there. Alright, 3.4 grains is going to be in the middle. I should probably dry my crying eyes, but I'm going for it. $158 grain, 703 feet per second. Alright, wow. From here, that looks like a pretty good group. I'm gonna write that one down, I think, as a keeper. We'll see what this next one looks like. So that was the lighter of the two of the 158s that we're going to shoot. So now we're going to shoot the 4.4 grains. All of these bullets are being shot onto my fine BuckeyeTargets.com target down there. I appreciate them for giving me that target. So here we go, the last 158 grain, 4.4 grains of trail balls, 856 feet per second. This is the hottest one here of the 158s. Alright, from here that don't look bad either. Goodness. We'll see, because to be honest with you, I was having a hard time staying on the sight there with my eyes all blurry. Let's take a look at it. Alright, so that was with a 5-inch revolver, and the 110 grain bullets were really you know, a low standard velocity. Those velocities that we talked about, that was considered, all of those loads were considered a low standard velocity for this size bullet, and the 158 grain Keith style bullet from Arsenal mold, that was considered a low to medium velocity, even at, you know, full capacity in the case. You know, is basically what we had. And you know, if you want to see what the hottest loads look like, you know, with the 4.4 grains traveling at 856 feet per second with the 158 grain bullet, that would have been your hottest load right there. And that's what our primers look like, just so you're called up and know all of that. And then the the target, I went ahead and measured them before I come on here, and the 3 grains, all of these groups actually looked really good. This was a 1-inch group, believe it or not. That first group that we shot with 3 grains traveling at 699 feet per second, and then the second group that we shot at 858 feet per second with the 110 grain bullet with 4 grains. That was a 1.1 inch group, 1.1 inch. So and then the third one that we shot, the last one that we shot with the 110 grain with 5 grains of trail balls at 956 feet per second. That was under an inch, 0.936. 0.936. And then we shot this 158 grain bullet at 703 feet per second, and it was a .675 inch group, and that was close. That's closer to a half-inch group than it is, an inch. So, that was the best group of the day. And then the last one that we shot with the 158 grain, traveling 856 feet per second, was a 1.1 inch group. So, all of these groups are great. This one right here was 1 inch, and so this was the best of the 110 grain bullet, and this was the best of the 158 grain bullet. So this one was 3 grains for this 110 grain bullet. This was 3.4 grains with the 158 grain bullet. So that's some information that hopefully you guys can use, and because somewhere in here you could play around with your gun and actually find something even better. But that was shooting 12 yards from a rest in the freezing cold. So I'm like, man, it was cold. So I was struggling because my eyes kept watering, and but I'd complain and have another excuse if it was hot. So that's really it. A minimum and a maximum charge. That was like the minimum to the maximum charge, and shooting for accuracy in groups using Trail Boss. So one of the things that may be taken away here today from some of you, because there's a lot of folks out there that think that Trail Boss is not very accurate, that it's a good low recoil or reduced load powder, but not so much accurate. And that's kind of why, that was kind of the premise that I used. I don't know, sort of kind of, among all the rest of the fun. But I will say this, I had a lot of fun shooting that group. Regardless of where those bullets were landing, I just totally loved it. A lot of it has to do with just shooting the old wheel guns, and the other one had to do with just shooting this low recoil powder. So anyway, we're not through with the Trail Boss. I've got another one. I got another video that I really want to do, because I want to talk more about the Trail Boss and what used to be and what isn't anymore, and some of the things. There's some other information, but I didn't want to cram everything into one video. But there is some more that I want to do, and maybe shoot a group with some rifles or that kind of thing with the Trail Boss, and talk more about the magic of the powder being Trail Boss, that kind of thing. Now, for those of you that are waiting on me to start or complete my AK loading series, I am working on it. I have bullets sitting right here, and that's why this is all a mess in here. I run into some snags and some problems. I broke my scope that I was going to use. I sent it back, and I'm getting it back. In the meantime, I got another one coming that I'm buying. And anyway, I can't win for losing, because in order to shoot groups for accuracy, I really want to be able to get a little bit better sight picture of my target, or it won't be fair to the load up that I'm doing. So we got some cool things ahead. I'm in full gear. Got it going. Got some different stuff going for the AK. So stay tuned for that. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I loved shooting this video. Again, every time I shoot that wheel gun, I just have a blast. Love it. I'll see you guys in the next video.